أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, inshallah ta'ala, tonight we'll talk about the pillar of Iman, to believe in the Yawm al-Akhir, to believe in the last day. We talked about the minor and the major signs, although we did not give it its rights in mentioning all of what has came to us from the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. But the purpose of this, first of all, that this is a matter of belief, matter of aqidah. So we need to make sure that we have our belief correct in our hearts, because it will affect our speech and actions. And we are in need of it at all times, especially at the moment of death. The thing that might divert the person or deviate the person at the moment of death is the deviation in matters of belief. So that's why this is the foundation of the deen that has to be clear and has to be firm, and it's all according to the wahy revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Day of Judgment has many stages to it, and it's all mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Believing in it in general, of course, this is a must for the pillars of Iman, but we need to believe also in all the details that are mentioned. And the more we know, and then we will believe, the more we will increase our Iman, and that will affect our actions and speech, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would never mention anything in His book, or the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mention anything about the unseen unless it's needed, and it's more important to us than the food and the drink that is necessity of our life, because this is again the thing between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the wahy from Allah. Yawm al-Qiyamah, or the Day of Judgment, because it's such an important thing and everybody shall witness the Day of Judgment, and we're all going and heading towards this direction, and no one will escape it whatsoever. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about death and what comes after it, قُلْ إِنَّ الْمَوْتَ الَّذِي تَفِرُّونَ مِنْهُ فَإِنَّهُ مُلَاقِيكُمْ ثُمَّ تُرَدُّونَ إِلَى عَالِمِ الْغَيْبِ وَالشَّهَادَةِ فَيُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. Say, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that this maut, this death, that you flee away from, فَإِنَّهُ مُلَاقِيكُمْ, it will meet you one day. You cannot really run away from it forever. And then, why maut is mentioned, why the death is mentioned? Because it's the first stage of the hereafter. Then you will return. ثُمَّ تُرَدُّونَ إِلَى عَالِمِ الْغَيْبِ وَالشَّهَادَةِ. Then you shall return to the all-knower of the ghaib and the shahada, the unseen and the seen. And He will inform you of what you used to do. So everything, the end of it is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everybody shall return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a belief that which will make all our entire life based on this fact. That's why, as Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he said, أي شيء لا ينتهي إلى الله عز وجل فهو مضمحل زائل. Anything that does not end to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will vanish and it will go away, it's not important. Meaning, most importantly, our actions. If a person do something and he's not intended for this action to be for the sake of Allah, to seek the reward from Allah in the hereafter, at the end, this deed is of no value whatsoever. It will go away, it will be a source of regret. Unless everything is for the sake of Allah, seeking the rewards from Allah in the hereafter, and nothing but the hereafter. But if a person seeks rewards in his life with his good deeds, seeking fame, wealth, whatever, it's going to go away. And it's not accepted this way. The intentions has to be seeking the rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hereafter. And because of the importance of the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned many names to it. So we will try, inshallah ta'ala, mention some of the names of the Day of Judgment and what does it mean as it's mentioned in the Quran. First, of course, is Yawm al-Qiyamah. Right? This is mentioned in 70 verses of the Quran. Yawm al-Qiyamah. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa. لا يجمعنكم إلى يوم القيامة لا ريب فيه, and many verses. That He will gather you to the Yawm al-Qiyamah. Al-Qiyamah from Qama, Yaqum, al-Qiyamah, this is the pronoun that everybody shall stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's usually not just a simple stand. Usually al-Qiyamah or Qama, fulan, meaning something so important that make a person as they say even in English, he stood up for his right. He did not necessarily physically stood up, but this is the meaning of it, that the matter is a serious one. Al-Yawm al-Akhir, the last day, and the significance of believing in the last day. If it's the last one, then this is what matters, and this is where the hearts need to be attached to. And whenever we come across these names in the Quran, we should witness in reciting it that this is the day of judgment, yes, and also the word that is mentioned. Why it's mentioned Al-Qiyamah? Why is it mentioned Al-Yawm al-Akhir? So that it will have another effect in the heart. So this is the last day, so this is what counts. This is what we need to be attached to. This is what we need to do the deeds for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And many hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he would say, Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawm al-akhir. فَلْيَقُلْ خَيْرًا أَوْ لِيَصْمُتْ, for example. Whoever believes in Allah and the last day, he should be either speak what is good or to be quiet. The significance of this is the last day, that whatever we do, we will see the effect of it. It might not be in this life, but it's definitely will be in the hereafter. And it's by the mercy of Allah, if a person does not repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from a sin, it's from the mercy of Allah that he will see the effect of his actions in his life, so that it wipes away the sin in the day of judgment. But if he repents to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then this is best for him, because he won't see the effect of it by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his life or in the hereafter. And there are many verses also that talks about al-yawm al-akhir. Also, it's as-sa'a. وإن الساعة لآتية فاصفح الصفح الجميل. As-sa'a is the hour, right? And what it refers to, a period of time. And what it refers to really is the time that you are present in now. As-sa'a, meaning this time that you are in and witnessing now. And it shows how close is the sa'a. Right? وَإِنَّ السَّاعَةَ لَآتِيَةٌ. The sa'a is coming close. And it's referred to as a sa'a as if it's now. As if it's very close. Right? So the matter is very close, closer than what we think. And we even see that in our life with regards to our past. Our past compared to the moment that we're in, as if it was nothing. Because we are now witnessing what we're witnessing today. The past is finished, it's gone, and what's gone behind our back is as if it was a part of the day or a part of the night or so. Yawm al-Ba'th, the day of al-Ba'th, the day of resurrection. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that in many verses of the Quran. This is the resurrection. Everybody will be resurrected. And this is the belief that we have to have firm in our hearts. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, Yawm al-Khuruj, when people will come out of their graves, and you can imagine the scene when everybody comes out from their grave, and once they hear the sayha and they blow the trumpet, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will call them from the earth, ثُمَّ إِذَا دَعَاكُمْ دَعْوَةً مِنَ الْأَرْضِ إِذَا أَنْتُمْ تَخْرُجُونَ. Then when He call you a da'wah from the earth, you will get up from the graves, the same way the person was born and given his life when he did not have any choice. The same thing, people will be resurrected without a choice. And they will say, قَالُوا مَنْ بَعَثَنَا مِنْ مَرْقَدِنَا. The disbelievers will say, who resurrected us from our sleep or so? So this is Yawm al-Ba'th, the day of resurrection, the day of coming out. Al-Qari'ah, right? Al-Qari'ah, and it means the strike or so. And this is how the day of judgment is, because it strikes the hearts and strikes the bodies and everything with its ahwal and miseries and the things that people will see and witness in the day of judgment. Yawm al-Fasl, the day of al-Fasl. Al-Fasl is the judgment, where everything will be judged according to the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is al-Fadl and the extra. Nobody will be punished except by the justice of Allah, and people will be between the justice and the mercy of Allah. Those who will be punished, they will be punished by the justice of Allah. Those who will be forgiven, they will be forgiven by the mercy of Allah. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إِنَّ عَرَضْنَا الْأَمَانَةَ عَلَى السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَالْجِبَالِ فَأَبَيْنَ أَنْ يَحْمِلْنَهَا وَأَشْفَقْنَ مِنْهَا وَحَمَلَهَا الْإِنسَانُ إِنَّهُ كَانَ ظَلُومًا جَهُولًا. That the human being is the one that bore this amana, this trust to listen and to obey or to disobey. إِنَّهُ كَانَ ظَلُومًا جَهُولًا. He is too much unjust and too much of ignorance. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after that classified the human beings into three categories in the Day of Judgment, as they were in this life. لِيُعَذِّبَ اللَّهُ الْمُنَافِقِينَ وَالْمُنَافِقَاتِ وَالْمُشْرِكِينَ وَالْمُشْرِكَاتِ وَيَتُوبَ اللَّهُ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to punish the hypocrites, men and women, and the disbelievers, men and women, and to accept the repentance of the believers, men and women. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most forgiving, the most merciful. So this is how the judgment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even to the extent of which is the animals, any injustice ever happened on the face of earth would never go on without being dealt with the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even as the Prophet ﷺ said that الشاء القرناء والشاء الجلحاء, two types of goats, one with horns and one hornless. When the one with horn would attack the hornless one الجلحاء تختص, it revenge from the one with the horns in the Day of Judgment. So nothing will go away. Although they are not mukallafin, they are not responsible for their actions. But they will be resurrected so that justice will be served, and then after that it will be said to them to be dust. Right? And this is what the disbelievers would see, and the disbeliever would say, Ya laytani kuntu turaba. He would wish that he was dust like the animals. But because they are not responsible for their actions. And also Yawmuddin, Malik Yawmuddin, and Yawmuddin is the day of al-jaza, the recompense and the reward and so on. And many things, as-sakha, at-tammatul kubra. Like as-sakha is the very loud voice, this is what linguistically it means, that makes the person deaf immediately. Extreme loudness that would break one's ability to hear. Right? This is one of the names of the Day of Judgment. And Tammatul Kubra, the major catastrophe or disaster. Right? And again, for the believers, this is all mercy and goodness and so on. But for the disbelievers, and according to the sins of the person would face whether it's good or bad. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from it. And one of the very difficult things, and one of the names of the Day of Judgment is Yawm al-Hasra. Yawm al-Hasra, al-Hasra is regret, the day of regret. When the regret would never benefit the person, it benefits now. So anybody that regretted anything in the past, it's a good thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful. Once the moment of death comes, there is no means of regretting, it's too late. And that's why it's Yawm al-Hasra. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَأَنذِرْهُمْ يَوْمَ الْحَسْرَةِ إِذْ قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ وَهُمْ فِي غَفْلَةٍ وَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. وَأَنذِرْهُم, warn them from the day of al-Hasra, warn them from the day of regret. إِذْ قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ, when the matter is finished, it's done, so there's no means of regret would never benefit them, and they are in forgetfulness, and they are not believers. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءَتْهُمُ السَّاعَةُ قَالُوا يَا حَسْرَتَنَا عَلَى مَا فَرَطْنَا فِيهِ. When the hour comes, they would say, Ya hasratana, right? Oh, our regretting that they did not do the deeds and wasted this short period of time that they lived on the face of it. And تقول نفس يا حسرة على ما فرطت في جنب الله وإن كنت لمن الساخرين. Warn yourself before the day when it comes. A soul would say, Ya hasrata. Ya hasrata means, oh my regret, if it's correct to say it like this. Wailing against oneself, that he regrets so much what he had undermined and belittled and disobeyed the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and used to mock the believers and so on. It's the everlasting day, it's Yawm al-Hisab, reckoning is in the Day of Judgment, and it's al-Waqi'ah, definitely it will happen, and Yawm al-Wa'id, the warning, and Yawm al-Jam', everybody will be gathered, and al-Haqqa, Yawm al-Talaq, Yawm al-Tanad. Yawm al-Tanad is from people calling, so much calling on that day. People will be called, they will call one another. The oppressors will call the oppressed, and the oppressed will call the oppressors. Those who led others to sin and those who were led to sins. And they all distance themselves from each other, they curse each other. Because they will say, you did this to me, you did this to me. The killed will come and dragging the one that killed him in the Day of Judgment, and would make him stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he would say, Ya Allah, ask this man, why did he kill me? Right? And how many people are killed in the bloodshed of the human beings? The thief will carry what he stole on his back. Right? He will come on the Day of Judgment with it. And people cursing one another. And nations cursing other nations. And individuals. So people are calling. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will call them to the people. أَلَمْ أَعْهَدْ إِلَيْكُمْ يَا بَنِي آدَمَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا الشَّيْطَانَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to the people, didn't I take the covenant from you not to worship the shaitan? Obeying him and following him, the matter has been made clear. The warning is there. And if a person did not take the matter serious, he should not blame anyone but himself. And again, Yawm al-Talaq, when people will meet. Right? The believers will meet and the disbelievers will meet. But there's of course differences like between the heavens and the earth. That's why when a person dies and he's given the glad tidings of Jannah, he would say, رَبِّ أَقِمِ السَّاعَةِ رَبِّ أَقِمِ السَّاعَةِ حَتَّى أَرْجِعَ إِلَى أَهْلِي وَمَالِي. He would say, oh Allah, make the hour come quickly so that I go back to my family and my wealth. Right? So there's a point or a period of time where a person has to be alone. So the comfort that a person gets in this life with his family and his children and so on, at one point of time, everybody has to depart and to be alone. And it's a journey. But for the believers, they will be reunited and it's an everlasting joy for them and so on. And also, not just this talaq that is good. الظالم والمظلوم, again, the oppressor and the oppressed. The people that led each other, they would meet, they would see each other. And you can imagine, again, with the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the names also that really affect the hearts is Yawm al-Taghabun. There's a surah called Surah al-Taghabun. And al-Taghabun is when a person, and we talked about it before, al-Ghabn is when a person would be cheated or deceived in a transaction. There's no cheating, of course, the matter is clear. But when a person is foolish and he doesn't value the great value that he has in a merchandise, like a child, he gets a piece of, the biggest piece of diamond in the world, to him it's just a piece of glass. He will go to the store to give it for a piece of candy, for example. Right? So if this person behind the counter, he sees this and he's given this wealth and this value for a piece of candy, he will definitely accept that. But you see how much a person would regret when he knows that how he wasted so much. And many verses in the Quran talks about people selling the hereafter for the price of this dunya. اشترون الدنيا بالآخرة. They purchase this dunya, and what's the price? The hereafter. It's supposed to be the other way around, because nothing compared this dunya to the hereafter. So many names like this, and the reason why these names are mentioned a lot in the Quran, and we need to remember this great meaning that it has so many names, because when something is great, then it will have many names to it. Even in the Arab, for example, they would have over like 500 names for the sword, because the sword is important for them. For the lion, 70 names for lion, because the lion is an important thing to them. So the same thing when it comes to something important, you would have many names to it, but here it's not just names, but it has its meanings, and all of which people will witness in the Day of Judgment. So this is the most important event ever. And again, this is something that everybody will meet. The first stage of the Day of Judgment is when people are all dead, then it's a nafkh. A nafkh of sur. A nafkh is to the blow in the trumpet by the angel Israfil. He's responsible for this. And the nafkh is more than one. Some said 2 and some said 3, because in the verses of the Quran it talks about al-sa' wal-faza' wal-ba'th. It talks about al-faza' or terrifying, blowing in the trumpet, and al-sa' when everybody will be stricken. Am I saying a stroke? Strike. What's the best? Stricken. Stricken by the lightning. That means everybody will be, not lightning, but by the blow of the trumpet, everybody will be dead. And then they blow the trumpet for everybody to be resurrected. So some said it's 3, or some said it's 2. The sa' and the faza' are both 1. But it's definitely either 2 or 3, but 2 are together because of the different names of it. But one for sure, everybody will die, even the angel of death himself will die, even Israfil, the one that blew the trumpet, he will die himself also. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will resurrect him, because nobody will be then have his existence except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is a Malik, and he will say, Liman al-mulk al-yawm, to who is the mulk today, and the real kingdom and ownership, it's to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And then he will be ordered the angel to blow the trumpet for people to be resurrected. So, and the Prophet ﷺ, when he mentioned in the hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari and others, where the hour when it happens in a very short period of time. As we said, the people on earth will be only the disbelievers at the end, and on them the day of judgment will occur. The Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, وَلَا تَقُومَنَّ السَّاعَةُ وَقَدْ نَشْرَ الرَّجُلَانِ ثَوْبَهُمَا بَيْنَهُمَا فَلَا يَتَبَايَعَانِهِ وَلَا يَطْوِيَانِهِ. The hour will be established when the men will, two men, buying and selling, and they have a thobe or a piece of garment. They spread it because one is buying and one is selling. He won't sell it. The transaction will not be occurred by the time that he's looking and he's bargaining and so on, and he won't fold it till the hour will be established. That means once it happens, it's a very short period of time. وَلَا تَقُومَنَّ السَّاعَةُ وَقَدْ انصَرَفَ الرَّجُلُ بِلَبَنِ رَضْحَتِهِ فَلَا يَطْعَمُهُ. And the person is milked his cow or so or camel, and he takes the milk, he won't even have the chance to drink it, and the hour will strike down. وَلَا تَقُومَنَّ السَّاعَةُ هُوَ يَبِيتُ حَوْضَهُ. The man will be making his place where the camels they drink and so on, the fence of it with cement or with mud or whatever. He won't finish it, the hour will be established. And the last statement the Prophet ﷺ said, وَلَا تَقُومَنَّ السَّاعَةُ وَقَدْ رَفَعَ أَكْلَتَهُ إِلَى فِيهِ فَلَا يَطْعَمُهُ. Also the person will take a morsel of food, everything is normal. He's taking a morsel of food, and then the striking of the hour will happen, he will not be able even to put it in his mouth. So this is where the strike for everybody to be dead. And then the resurrection comes after that. And this will be in As-Sur, and وَنُفِخَ فِي الصُّور, as it's mentioned in the Quran. And As-Sur is Al-Qarn, or the trumpet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best how will that look. But the Prophet ﷺ, he said in the authentic hadith recorded by Al-Hakim and others, إِنَّ طَرْفَ صَاحِبِ الصُّورِ مُنْذُ وُكِّلَ بِهِ مُسْتَعِدٌ يَنْظُرُ نَحْوَ الْعَرْشِ. That the tarf is the eyes of the angel of As-Sur, of the trumpet. From the time that he has been entrusted with it, he is looking towards the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's looking towards the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, مَخَافَةَ أَنْ يُؤْمَرَ قَبْلَ أَنْ يَرْتَدَّ إِلَيْهِ طَرْفُ. Out of the fear that he will be ordered to blow in it before he would blink his eyes back. That means his eyes is set. He doesn't even want to blink, because if he's afraid that if he blinked, the order might come then. كَأَنَّ عَيْنَيْهِ كَوْكَبَانِ دُرِّيَّانِ. Prophet ﷺ is saying as if his eyes is like two glowing stars or planets and so on. So this is the angel. And the Prophet ﷺ said, كَيْفَ أَنْعَمْ. And this hadith, in also it's an authentic hadith reported by Tirmidhi and others, كَيْفَ أَنْعَمْ وَقَدْ الْتَقَمَ صَاحِبُ الْقَرْنِ الْقَرْنِ. Prophet ﷺ said, how can I an'am? How can I have delight? How can I have comfort? When the owner of the trumpet, when the angel of the trumpet, التقم means he put it in his mouth. وَحَنَ جَبْهَتَهُ, and he lowered his forehead. وَأَصْغَى سَمْعَهُ, and he gave his ears waiting for the order. يَنْتَظِرُ أَنْ يُؤْمَرَ أَنْ يَنْفُخ. He's waiting for the order for him to blow the trumpet. فقال المسلمون, when the companions they heard this, they said, فَكَيْفَ نَقُولُ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. What should we do? What should we say? O Messenger of Allah, when this is the situation. قال قولوا حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل توكلنا على الله ربنا. Prophet ﷺ said, say حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل توكلنا على الله ربنا. Right? So this is what a person should say when he remember or think of these things. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل توكلنا على الله ربنا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sufficient for us because nobody can handle this unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows His mercy on whomsoever He wills. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is suffice for the believers and He is the one, the best to rely on. توكلنا على الله ربنا, we rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our Lord. He is the one that created us and His promise is the truth, and this is where definitely it will change the life of the believers. The day, as we know that the blowing of the trumpet will be, is in the day of Jumu'ah. As the Prophet ﷺ, he said, خير يوم طلعت عليه الشمس يوم الجمعة. The best day ever the sun rises on is the day of Jumu'ah. فيه خلق آدم. Adam was created in it. وفيه أدخل الجنة. And on that day he entered Jannah. وفيه أخرج منها. And he was out of Jannah on that day. ولا تقوم الساعة إلا يوم الجمعة. And the Sa'ah, the hour, would not be established except in the day of Jumu'ah. And there are many hadith like this. And one hadith in Shaykh al-Jami' where the Prophet ﷺ, he said, عُرِضَتْ عَلَيَّ الْأَيَّامِ. The days have been presented to me. فَعُرِضَ عَلَيَّ فِيهَا يَوْمُ الْجُمُعَةِ. The day of Jumu'ah has been presented to me also from the days. فَإِذَا هِيَ كَمِرْآةٍ بَيْضَاءٍ فِي وَسَطِهَا نُقْطَةٌ سَوْدَاءٍ. As if it's like a white mirror, and in the middle of it is a black dot. فَقُلْتُ مَا هَذِهِ. He said, what is this? قِيلَ السَّاعَةِ. This is the hour. This is the hour. So the hour is in the day of Jumu'ah. And as we said, either 2 or 3 blowing in the trumpet. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about نفخ في الصور ونفخ في الصور فصعق من في السماوات ومن في الأرض إلا من شاء الله. That when the trumpet is blown, everybody in the heavens and the earth, صعق, he will be stricken by it, except إلا من شاء الله, except for those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will. Who are those that will have this exception? They will not be affected by this blowing of the trumpet. The ulama, they have different sayings in it. Some said these are the angels. Some said it's specific angels like Jibreel alayhi salam and others. Some said these are the ones in Jannah other than the human beings, like Al-Hur al-Ain and other than that. And some said it's really the believers, right? And many things. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِلَّا مَنْ شَاءَ اللَّهِ, except for those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will. And there's the hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, لَا تُخَيِّرُونِ عَلَى مُوسَى. When a man, he had a dispute from the companions with one of the Jews of Al-Madinah, and the dispute was in such a way that he said, he was swearing by the Rabb of Musa alayhi salam, so the Sahabi beat him or slapped him and so on. And the Prophet ﷺ, when the Jewish came to him and he forbade them from saying that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is better than Musa ﷺ in the context of putting down Musa ﷺ. Because we know that the Prophet ﷺ, he is the best of all the prophets. But if it's in a context that would give the notion that as if the other messenger is less, this is what is not permissible, and this is what the Prophet ﷺ said, لَا تُخَيِّرُونِ عَلَى مُوسَى. Do not say they are better than Musa ﷺ. If you say the Prophet ﷺ is the best of all the messengers, it's different than in the context of dispute. So if a person, for example, disputing with, of course, Musa ﷺ is a prophet of Islam, and Isa ﷺ and so on. So this is what is meant. Then he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, فَإِنَّ النَّاسَ يُصَعْقُونَ فَأَكُونُ أَوَّلَ مَنْ يَفِيهِ. He said that people will be stricken by the trumpet, فَأَكُونُ أَوَّلَ مَنْ يَفِيهِ. I will be the first to be resurrected. فَإِذَا مُوسَى دَاطِشٌ بِجَانِبِ الْعَرْشِ. And I am the first to be resurrected, and I will find Musa alayhi salam holding to the side of the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يقول فلا أدري أكان في من صعق فأفاق قبلي أو كان ممن استثنى الله. So the Prophet ﷺ said, I do not know if he is among those who were stricken and he was resurrected before me, or he was one of those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made as an exception, as the ayah mentioned. And this is, you see, the truthfulness of the Prophet ﷺ, and how he does not speak ﷺ except by the wahy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He doesn't know this particular point of it. Is he before him or not? And he would say what he knew ﷺ. And some said that shuhada and others and so on. So this is with regards to an-nafkh, or blowing in the trumpet, and then people will be resurrected. And this is where the ba'ath is another stage, when people are resurrected. And the resurrection, or the ba'ath and nushur, and this is how people will be resurrected. And one thing, and then we'll stop there inshallah ta'ala and continue next time. With regards to al-ba'ath, people will be resurrected, all the human beings of course, and you can imagine the greatness of that day. And people will be resurrected according to how they left this life on earth. As this is the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the way they will be resurrected is, as it's mentioned also in the hadith, in Sahih Muslim, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring down rain, and people will be resurrected like the plant when it becomes alive, when the flood comes and it erects right away. So people will be resurrected like the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the plants to be also resurrected. And this is one of the reasons why we see what we see from the life after death in the trees and the plants, as a reminder for us with regards to the hereafter. And we'll not get into the times between the different blowing in the trumpets and so on. But when people are resurrected, then they will carry what they left in this life. So if they had a good ending, they will be resurrected with it. If someone died in the state of an act of worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that will have its effect when he's resurrected. As the Prophet ﷺ, he said about the Hajj al-Muhrim, when he dies in the state of al-Ihram, he ordered not to cover his head, because he will be resurrected in the Day of Judgment, mulabbiyan, saying labbaik Allahumma labbaik, because this is his last act in this life, which is a sign of a good ending of one's life. And if a person dies as a shaheed, as a martyr, he will be resurrected with his wound bleeding. And he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, al-lawnu lawnu dam, the color is blood, but al-rih rihul misk, the smell is the smell of musk. And the person that died on La ilaha illallah, he will be resurrected on La ilaha illallah, with the people of La ilaha illallah. And many hadith like this. And those who died in the state of sin, they will be resurrected in the same way. Like as it's mentioned in some of the hadith, those who die with, they used to backbite and slander people, their tongue will be extended from their mouth till their chest, as an ugly scene, as a sign of their abusing others with their tongue. The one that stole anything, he will have it carried on his back. So people will be like this. And those who used to deal with riba, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ الرِّبَا لَا يَقُومُونَ إِلَّا كَمَا يَقُومُ الَّذِي يَتَخَبَّطُهُ الشَّيْطَانُ مِنَ الْمَسِّ. That those who eat the riba and the usury, they won't stand up. Some said in the Day of Judgment, and some said in this life, they won't stand up in the Day of Judgment, except that they would look like someone have been beaten by the shaitan. They cannot stand, they are always falling, they are as if someone is crazy because of the effect of the sin. So this is how the end of one's life is also something that the hearts are attached to. And the way that a person lives his life is by the mercy of Allah. His life will end accordingly, and then he will be resurrected accordingly. And that's why the deen of Islam is not about this secret moment at the moment of death. It's about al-istiqamah, to be steadfast on the deen of Allah. الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا. This is when we hear about these things that bring so much concern and fear in the heart, which it should. Then what is the way to achieve the security and the comfort and the delight? Is to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to have the proper belief, and then to be steadfast on this till the last moment of our life, because the promise of Allah is the truth. As He said, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهُ ثُمَّ اسْتَقَامُوا. They are steadfast on the straight path, these are the ones that the angels will come to them at the moment of death. Don't fear of what's coming ahead, and don't grieve of what you're leaving behind. And they will be their supporters, and they will guide them, and they will be in the light. So this is really the key, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save us from the punishment of the hereafter, and to make us among the people of Jannah. وصلى الله وسلم على محمد وعلى اله وصحبه.